President Trump made good on his promise to call the grieving families of those 4 special ops soldiers killed during a siege in Niger. But this morning, his message to one grieving widow is sparking backlash. President Trump told the wife of Army Sergeant LaDavid Johnson, quote, he knew what he signed up for.
Well, it's kind of this remarkable thing because this isn't something that's gone for 1 day or 2 days or even 3 days. This has now gone on for 8 days. It's now in its second week. And the issue of the tit for tat, Trump disputing what this Gold Star widow says, it's becoming a bigger and bigger PR problem for this White House at a time when they've got a lot of fish to fry, a lot of really important things that they're trying to get wrapped up by the end of the year legislatively. But this has become a really big distraction, and it just seems to never end.
Pregnant with their 3rd child, Johnson laid her head on his flag-draped casket and gave a final kiss.
Hello, my friends. Jacob is here again. I am so happy you're here with me. I'm glad that you pressed that little play button. Spend a little time with me so we can find out about how the sinister powers that be are slowly but surely taking over every square inch of the world. That's right. Today's show, it's about the things that are moving on behind the scenes. Just this Friday, past Friday, that is, Trump just made a pretty interesting executive order, taking about up to 1,000 pilots out of retirement, saying, guess what? I know you serve your time and you want to retire and play some golf and enjoy your life. Sorry, you're going to be needed because most likely there is going to be a war. So, not the best news for those that are retired. That's right. You don't think that they can do stuff like that, but they can, and there's a reason for it. And a lot of people think that that reason is oil. So buckle up, people, because this show is going to open your eyes to why we invade countries on a regular basis. Okay, so there's this guy, this sinister-looking, spooky dude. Looks like the guy from The Simpsons, right? Most likely, he's based on him to begin with. And the Rothschild family, right? Well, they own, I think they're like $400 billion or something. They're the wealthiest family in the world, said to be. They're the private bankers, the centralized bank. They are the hidden hand behind the scenes, pulling the strings and making people do what they want them to do, follow after their bidding. Okay, so a little history lesson, okay? So the central banking system, basically, it's all over the world, except for, get ready for this, just a couple of countries. North Korea being one, go figure, our enemy, right? Iran being another. Hey, what's that about? And Cuba. But it wasn't that long ago that there were more countries on that list. Yeah, like Iraq. There was Sudan, Libya, and Afghanistan. That's right. Well, before we invaded many of these countries, under the pretense of weapons of mass destruction and more.
At this hour, American and coalition forces are in the early stages of military operations to disarm Iraq, to free its people, and to defend the world from grave danger.
Those weapons of mass destruction got to be somewhere. Nope, no weapons over there. Maybe under here.
And the overthrowing of terrible, evil regimes.
The UN and human rights groups are calling for an investigation, saying that if, as it appears from the videotape, that Gaddafi was executed, it was a war crime. And you're also coming under fire for what you said.
We came, we saw, he died.
And more. So, a while back, since we couldn't back our dollar bill with the gold anymore, we changed over to this thing called the petrodollar. Now, I don't have time to go into all of that. There are plenty of videos online that explain what the petrodollar is and why it was important. But basically, what the United States became like the hub for this centralized banking system to basically make sure that everything was owned by the central bank, and that all of the oil, not just the oil in the United States, but the oil in other countries, were also backed by the US dollar. So either way, the US profited. See, the problem is, what happened back in 2000 is a couple of countries, like Iraq, being one of them, they didn't want to use the US dollar anymore. They decided back in 2000, it's like, we want to use the euro. And this was after Desert Storm, the first one, so they were kind of already upset with the United States. So they went to the UN, and because of the Food for Oil program, the UN approved it, and then it wasn't shortly thereafter that we invaded and basically had Saddam Hussein lynched. Yeah, so the overthrower of the puppet dictator that we actually, a lot of people don't know this, put in power back in the day to begin with. Afghanistan, similar situation. You know, they wanted to go outside of the U.S. for this. So we took care of that too. The next one, of course, was Libya, which was all about the dinar. And Gaddafi, you know, he was set to, like, you know, basically bring the dinar in. And I think it was like the president of France that said that basically Libya was kind of the one country that was the most influential in bringing down the world financial system. So Libya became a big threat. So then what we did was we went in and to, you know, overthrow the government. And then we, you know, brutally had him killed too.
That if, as it appears from the videotape, that Gaddafi was executed, it was a war crime. And you're also coming under fire for what you said.
We came, we saw, he died. We came, we saw, he died.
That, yeah, it probably wasn't a good thing to go outside of the banking system. So they invaded Iraq, basically put the oil back on the market, central bank, privatized bank in charge. They did the same thing with Afghanistan, and then same thing with Libya. Everything seems right as rain, except now Iran is on the list. Now, you've probably seen the video with big five-star general who came on the scene, and he'd gotten a memo. Another general had said, you can't believe what we're going to do, and then he gave him a list of all these countries that they were going to invade and the order in which they were going to invade. So it's like back in the day. Take a look.
We've made the decision we're going to war with Iraq. This was on or about the 20th of September. I said, we're going to war with Iraq. Why? He said, I don't know. He said, I guess they don't know what else to do. So I said, well, did they find some information connecting Saddam to Al-Qaeda? He said, no. He says, there's nothing new that way. They just made the decision to go to war with Iraq. He said, I guess it's like we don't know what to do about terrorists, but we've got a good military and we can take down governments. And he said, I guess if the only tool you have is a hammer, every problem has to look like a nail. So I came back to see him a few weeks later, and by that time we were bombing in Afghanistan. I said, are we still going to war with Iraq? And he said, oh, it's worse than that. He said, he reached over on his desk, he picked up a piece of paper, he said, He said, I just got this down from upstairs, meaning the Secretary of Defense's office today, and he said, this is a memo that describes how we're going to take out 7 countries in 5 years, starting with Iraq and then Syria, Lebanon, Libya, Somalia, Sudan, and finishing off Iran.
Okay, so the reason why I'm doing this video today is because when I was researching what I wanted to do on today's show, and I had a couple of different topics that I wanted to speak about, which, by the way, I'm going to try to start doing a second show on Thursday or Friday. I'm going to try to get 2 shows out to you a week because I know a lot of people have been asking for more. They also want live streams. Trying to get on it. Can't promise anything, but I'm going to really try to get you 2 shows a week. So please do me a favor. Subscribe. Share the videos around. Help grow the channel because I need it, especially now with this new censorship algorithm that is like just shutting down everything and keeping everybody's eyes off. I don't know how many people are telling me I was unsubscribed. So really do everything you can. It really means a lot to me. But when I was researching for today's show, and I found out that on Friday, Trump just did this executive order on the down low, just kind of slid it on in there. And it's a lot of pilots that are being recalled into action, don't you think?
You guys know what this represents?
Tell us, sir.
Maybe it's the calm before the storm. What the thought could be the calm before the storm.
What storm, Mr. President?
You'll find out.
During those meetings, we did discuss President Trump's new policy towards Iran. And King Salman gave a very strong endorsement of that policy to counter Iran's malign behaviors in the region. Both of our countries believe that those who conduct business with the Iranian Revolutionary Guard, any of their entities, European companies or other companies around the globe, really do so at great risk. Those who conduct business with the Iranian Revolutionary Guard, any of their entities, European companies or other companies around the globe, really do so at great risk. And we are hoping that European companies, countries, and others around the world will join the U.S. as we put in place a sanction structure to prohibit certain activities of the Iranian Revolutionary Guard.
You guys know what this represents?
Tell us, sir.
Maybe it's the calm before the storm. What the thought could be the calm before the storm.
And, you know, with the statements that he's been making when, you know, all the military leaders get together and he says, you know what this is? This is the calm before the storm. You start to think, well, maybe something's in the works. Maybe just maybe North Korea, maybe just maybe Iran. Because why? Well, they're not part of this centralized banking system. The Rothschilds don't have their fingers on it, neither do the rest of the hidden hand. Anyway, I wanted to come on here and tell you all about it because it's something that we need to educate ourselves about and get involved with. You know, we're sending our children off to war, and many times they think that this war is something that's really important and it's about American values and it's about keeping all of us safe, when in fact, many times it's just so that, you know, those less than 1%ers, the 1% of the 1%ers, so they can just become super, super wealthy and make us further debt slaves. Because this is the system that is set up. You know, we are all slaves to debt. It's not a chain you can see, but it is a chain that keeps you working at a job you don't like and that you continue to work at even though you're making about 20 to 30% less because another corporation came in and bought your corporation. That debt keeps you going. And then what happens? You know, then you try to express yourselves, and then what do? Another corporation comes in, tries to silence you, keeps you quiet, keeps you subdued, keeps you just keeping your head down and going about your business. Nothing to see here, nothing to see here. People are being killed on a regular basis, nothing to see. I would love to see this country change, and I know that it can change. I'd love to see the world change, and I know that it can change. I know because we are all just the lead character of this amazing movie that I call life. You are the lead character. So be the hero that you were born to be and get involved. Knowledge is power, and with faith, all things are possible. So stop looking at your situation, stop looking at your job and saying, I can't do more, I can't be more, and get out there and fly and put your faith in more. Because you know the people that are in charge, this system is crumbling. It's falling apart at the seams. That's why they're trying to tighten the belt and keep us all in control. But that can only last for so long. And that day, my friends, is going bye-bye because people are waking up. Thank you to the day that we are in. I love each and every one of you. Please do subscribe, share it around, tell your friends, and have the best day ever. Here's a big hug for you, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.